Hi, I'm Daniel, Principal Product Excellence Manager at ServiceNow for Creator Workflows. In this Now Bite, I will show you how we can combine a deterministic playbook with agentic components seamlessly all on one platform. This fusion of rule-based logic and autonomous decision-making AI allows developers to build scalable, intelligent automations without stitching together different toolsets. To bring this to life, I will use a simplified claims process as an example. I have created a playbook that outlines the key stages like data quality checks, fraud checks, outreach and communication, and eventually claims resolution and closure. While this is not exhaustive, it illustrates how a playbook can guide an agent through a complex task. The playbook itself doesn't have any agentic elements, but as we step through the demo, you will see where they start to emerge and how we blend the two disciplines together. I have set up a configurable workspace for claims agents, designed purely for illustration purposes and to showcase some of the platform's capabilities around workspaces. It surfaces live data, no stale reports, with drill-down capabilities by different capabilities like things that need attention or by location into different countries, and you can imagine that. If you have any further questions around configurable workspaces or want to drill deeper into any of the capabilities, please drop down a comment below. Now let's open a newly created claims record. While the details screen contains a lot of information, it can be overwhelming for agents. And in this particular use case, I haven't even spent time to make it beautiful or even usable. Instead, let's use the playbook that we've seen before. In the first stage of the playbook, data quality check, we can see there are three activities: coverage check, check for required documents, and check for mandatory claim information. The playbook dynamically surfaces only the relevant information towards the agent. So for example, in the first activity, coverage check, we can see it's automatically completed by the system, and it has found out that coverage has been checked. Hail is being covered as part of the insurance coverage that we have with the customer, and there's a deductible of 1,500 euros. In the second activity, we can see we need to check for required documents. You can imagine an insurance needs all kinds of different proofs for a damage before they do payouts. In my case here, we have an image attached of a car, and that has a hail damage, as we can clearly see on the bonnet here. For now, let's just complete that step and move on. You can see the playbook moves to the next element where it says check mandatory claim information. So this structured way of processing and guiding a user is what a playbook does. It's for a deterministic process, step by step, guiding you through the process and surfacing information that you need. In this step, we'll need to, for example, confirm the damage as a hail. We need the first notice of loss date. We confirm that being 1st of May, and we need to assign an adjuster. So for my demo, this is where I wanted to have my AI agent to kick in. And I configured it explicitly to start whenever I am assigned as an adjuster. So let's put my name in. With that said, let's complete that step and see our agent or minion to kick in. Two things will happen now. You can see that step is completed. The playbook advances to the next stage of validation and fraud check. And we see a message that Now Assist actually has a plan to help us. Let's view that plan. We can observe and interact with our AI agent through the Now Assist side panel. I'll pin that to the side, and you can see the AI agent kicking in and doing a couple of different things. I told it to actually figure out if there is another claim of the same user, the same date, with the same type. And I told it to check, as this is a hail damage, to go out, talk to a weather API, check the location of our user and see if there was hail reported on the given date. Now in this case, the system came back and said, hey, there was actually no hail reported, so it could probably be a fraudulent claim that we have here. We can also expand on the details and see what it did, like checking for duplicate claims, communicating with our agent. So the Now Assist will keep us in the loop of what's happening on the agent side. And we'll see more on that as we go into the setup and the debugging of these. Now, AI agents can be set up to be completely autonomous, like it did for duplication check and the weather check. But it can also set into what we call a supervised mode, where it asks a user for confirmation before proceeding. I particularly put that step in here before our agent updates my record, giving us the information back to process on our claims record. Now, this is probably not the real world scenario. Updating a record is not something you would need an agent to confirm, But imagine you want to have that as part before the payout step. You have an agent paying out, talking to your bank account. You probably want to have a human look over that before you send out the money. Or you might want to have thresholds. If it's more than X thousand euros, you'll have the manual step. If it's below, you do it autonomous, right? So think about impactful steps where you want to have a confirmation by a human agent. Now in this case, let's allow that to proceed. And we can see the agent is now moving forward to update the claim record. Let me remove the attachments panel. And we can see that the agent actually completed our duplication step. Right? This one is now done. And also the fraud check has been updated to true. As I said earlier on, we have seen there was no hail reported. So it actually triggered setting that as a fraud possible claim. Now that we have seen how our user interface can mix deterministic steps, the playbook on the left-hand side, with the agentic component on the right-hand side, our Now Assist panel, let's dive behind the scenes how the whole thing has been set up. For this, we're going to open our AI Agent Studio. Starting bottom up, we look at the individual AI agents used in this demo. Here I have defined 4 agents: Claims Details Receiver, Hail Weather Check, Claim Update Agent, and Existing Claim Identifier Agent. Each agent is responsible for specific tasks: retrieving records, updating records, validating some conditions, or reaching out to external APIs. These agents are modular and reusable as such, which allows us to build complex agentic workflows very easily. Let's explore the Hail Weather agent as an example. Each AI agent in ServiceNow needs a clear description of its purpose and its outcomes so that our orchestrator knows when to invoke the particular agent. Beyond that, we have the instructions to the AI agent itself, a role, and very clear description of what it needs to do and how it should behave. Once this is defined, we can move on and define or allow the tools to be used for this particular agent. In this case, it's using a subflow called getHailStatus, which is a classic integration hub spoke type implementation of an API to check for hail. We tell it to run autonomously, so no user interaction is required, no output is setting, and we get some additional information. With that, we can move on and define a trigger for the AI agent to act. In this case, there's none. You will see a trigger on our agentic flow in just a moment. Lastly, we define the availability of that agent, if it's active or not, and if it should be part of virtual agent and some additional information. This is the same for every of the 4 AI agents that you have seen. Once they are all in place, we can move forward to the agentic workflows. As an agentic workflow, I have defined a claim support agent. We can see that here. And similar like before, also here, our agentic flow needs a description and some instructions for our orchestrator. You can actually use Now Assist to craft this content if you want to, so that it helps you how to write the content. And it also helps you to find and connect the relevant agents to your use case. So based on your description, AI can help you to figure out which agents make sense in that context, or you can manually assign them. In this case, I used the manual approach and allowed my claims support agent to use the 4 AI agents that we just seen. With all these just linked into here, we can go to the trigger section, and here we can see that the claim support agent has a trigger set for a claims record with the claims type of hail damage and the adjuster being me. As a good practice, you should also have some conditions to prevent that agent to run again and again and again, and this when the update happens once more to the database. So in this case, I just used the fraud possibility flag and duplicate claim check to say when they are set, we are done. But keep that in mind to have some kind of a flag for your agentic flow to not be called repeatedly unnecessarily. With that said, we define the display of our claim support agent, which in this case is the Now Assist side panel, so we can interact through it through the side panel. That's all for the setup. However, where you will spend the most time defining your agents or agentic flows is these instructions. That's not programming, that's prompt skills. You need to figure out what the prompt is, and it will be a lot of trial and error to make it correct, making fine little adjustments into the prompt that allow the agent to produce a reliable and consistent result every time it's being invoked. So for testing, AI Agent Studio allows us to test our agents as well as the agentic workflows very easily by selecting the testing tab. And then we can select our agentic flow, and I'm running the same case task that we had before, or claim task. And I can trigger that test. This will run the same process that you've seen as an agent into the workspace, but this time with a lot of more information. You can see the orchestrator kicking in, finding out which are the different AI agent it needs, feeding one agent after another with the information you see on the left-hand side, and now it's a side panel, pretty much the same output than before. It's agentic, it's not 100% the same, but the result should be the same. Going through the different stages, and the beauty of it is for each agent that's been executed, we have an audit log of what was happening. So ServiceNow is tracking for the AI what is the thought, basically what is the mission that the AI thinks it has to complete, like in this case retrieving details of claim number ABC. It tells you what action it will be using, saying, hey, the best action I found is actually get claim details, and I'm going to use that as an input. And then you see kind of the inputs, the outputs, and so forth. So it goes through all the reasoning, augmenting of what it did. Now this has been surfaced here in the development administrator kind of front end, helping us to debug and see why it goes down certain paths, maybe to fine tune our prompts in the way that they do what we want to. But even for agentic flows executed into a workspace in the Now Assist panel, as we've seen before, the same level of detail is reported and stored in the back of the platform. So whenever you need to, we have that audit proof of your AI agent workforce and can see what they did and why they did certain things. Now, the modular setup that you've seen by using AI agents combined as agentic flows helps us to test individual agents for their results and how they move forward. So let's say the claimed details receiver agents, if I just start only that one, you can see it's figuring next steps, retrieving claim details, reading claim details, and reporting back what it found. That's what the claims details receiver agent does. And we can see same details on the right-hand side of why it went down certain path. This allows us a very modular and granular setup, keeping the repeatedly consistent results. It allows us to refine agent logic and evolve over time. That wraps up our demo and walkthrough of how to combine a deterministic process with agentic capabilities on the ServiceNow platform. We have seen how structured processes using playbooks can guide agents through a complex set of tasks, and how intelligent agents can extend that with autonomous decision-making elements and contextual awareness. Using AI Agent Studio, developers can design, test, and refine modular agents and orchestrated flows, bringing together precision and adaptability in a single environment. If you have any questions, ideas, or want to share how you are using agentic workflows, jump into the ServiceNow community, join the conversation on SNDev Slack, or put down a comment below. We'd love to hear what you're building. Thanks for watching this Now Bite.